Okay, so this is the Polygon Perspective warm-up page for week 24 Art Theory and Medieval Art Appreciation. So today, or this week, the students are going to be focusing on linear perspective as they examine, talk about, and imitate Pietro Perugino's Christ handing the keys of the kingdom to St. Peter, which is an early Renaissance painting. But first, we want to introduce them to the concept of perspective, which was invented in the Renaissance era. So we're going to begin class with this Polygon Perspective warm-up page. So hand out a page to your student, and the first thing I want you to do is ask them to identify the shapes that they see on the page. So we've been learning about polygons with math grammar in the past few weeks, so hopefully you can connect that to the memory work that they've been learning. So we have a star, got a rectangle, triangle, square. This is called a kite shape. And this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That is a pentagon. So after they have identified the shapes, if they are capable of doing so, tell them that today they're going to be learning about linear perspective, which is a way to represent three-dimensional space on a two-dimensional surface. So as I already said, linear perspective was discovered and used by Renaissance artists who were trying to draw the world around them as realistically as possible. And linear perspective is an attempt to show depth realistically and is based on the way our eyes actually see the world. So things that are closer to us are bigger and things that are farther away from us appear smaller. So, but how do we do this on a two-dimensional sheet of paper? To create this three-dimensional illusion, artists create a vanishing point on the horizon line and then use orthogonal lines to connect the objects to that vanishing point. Now, in actual paintings, you don't see those lines, generally speaking. Our piece of the week actually has those lines there, but for the most part, the orthogonal lines are not visible. They are brought there by the artists in the way that they arrange the painting. So we're going to be focusing today on one-point perspective with a single vanishing point. And the warm-up page shows 6 shapes that the viewer sees face on. So we're just seeing one face of all of these shapes. And they'll be connecting the points of the shapes with a straight edge to the vanishing point to make them appear three-dimensional. Okay, so after they've identified the shapes, put your finger on the horizon line and trace it from left to right. Say, this is the horizon line, and have your student repeat after you. Okay? And then put your finger on the vanishing point and say, this is the vanishing point, and have them repeat that after you. And explain to them that the horizon line is the same thing as the real horizon, the place where the earth meets the sky or where the ocean meets the sky. Now, it's not always in this perfectly straight line. Sometimes there's mountains in the way and all those kinds of things, but wherever the earth or the ocean meets the sky is the horizon line. And in art, it's also considered to be at the artist's eye level or where the artist is actually looking from. Okay, so tell them that in perspective, the lines of an object extend to and meet the vanishing point, which is always located on the horizon line. So we're going to be using a straight edge to connect the points of the shapes with the vanishing point on the horizon line to make these two-dimensional shapes appear magically to be three-dimensional. Okay, so hand out ruler and pencil. I'm going to do it in color, and feel free to do yours in color as well. We're going to start with the top right-hand shape, the rectangle, and tell your students to take their straight edge and draw an orthogonal line. So I'm copying my marker from the top left point of the rectangle to the very center bullseye of the vanishing point. And I've darkened these lines on mine. Yours are not as thick on your paper, but I went over these in permanent marker just so you could see. So I'm going to use orange for this one. So we draw it straight down. Now we're going to go to the bottom left corner of the rectangle and draw another orthogonal line. Okay. And then we're going to go to the bottom right, and we're going to draw another one. Now this one's kind of off. You see it didn't join exactly with that one, but that's okay. We're going to bring this one a little better. There we go. And so now your two-dimensional rectangle is actually popping off the page. Now some students might ask you, why are we not drawing the line from this top right corner to the vanishing point? And the reason is because from the artist's viewpoint, we can't see that line. It's behind the other lines. But if you want to, you can draw that line in. You just represent it with a dotted line so that you differentiate between them and recognize that we can't actually see that one. So now you can take a pencil crayon if you so desire, and you can fill this in and make that shape pop even more. It's like it's popping out of the page at you. You've taken it from 3 dimensions or 2 dimensions to 3 dimensions. Okay, I'm going to do this little triangle on the bottom. You can do as many of these shapes as you want for your warm-up activity. One of them might be enough, but I'm going to do another one just to show you. So we draw our orthogonal line from the vanishing point to the point of the triangle, or we can go from the point of the triangle to the orthogonal line. And this one, this triangle, notice it only has 2 lines because this line right here is not actually visible to us. I'm going to keep that one invisible, and instead I'm going to draw some parallel lines just to increase the interest on this one. So now you can see it that way. And I'm going to fill it in as well with some purple. Like so. Okay, I'm going to do one more to demonstrate, and I recommend again using a different color. I'm going to go with blue, and I'm going to do the kite shape. Okay, vanishing point, orthogonal line, vanishing point, orthogonal line, vanishing point, orthogonal line. This one, I'm also going to do some parallel lines to match the one on the other side. This one's a little bit trickier, so with this parallel line, you want to match it up here. There we go. I'm going to leave that one uncolored so you can see it. So you can do the square here at the bottom, the hexagon, or the star. The star is a little bit more complicated because there's a lot more points there, and the orthogonal lines are going to be closer together. But it's your choice. You can do as many or as few as you want to help reinforce the horizon line, the vanishing point, and the orthogonal lines. All right, so there's your warm-up page from the Polygon perspective. Thanks.